Welcome to the weekly current affairs class. Today we will be dealing with topics from society, security as well as ethics. The first topic that we will be starting with is with respect to Financial Action Task Force. The topic was in news recently with respect to exclusion of Pakistan from grey list. Okay. In this context, we need to know that basically what is Financial Action Task Force. This may be important with respect to your prelims exams. Okay, some kind of information or factual question can be asked with respect to this body. So first of all, what is Financial Action Task Force? The things that you need to learn about is it is an intergovernmental body. Okay, the question can be framed with respect to this, that what type of body is it? Is it an intergovernmental body? It is a organization? What is it? Okay, established by in 1989. Okay, and by G7, group of 7, basically in Paris. You must know that G7, it became G8 after the inclusion of Russia, and now then again basically Russia was excluded from this by G7 in Paris, France. It was formed with the intention to examine and develop measures to combat money laundering. Okay, it is an intergovernmental body formed in 1989 basically by a group of 7 countries, okay, in Paris, France, with an intention to develop measures to combat money laundering. Okay, what are its objectives now? Objective is to pretty simple, that set standards and promote effective implementation of legal, regulatory and operational measures. See, question can be framed with respect to this point also, that objective is only of legal measure or only of combating regularity and operational measures but not legal measures. This kind of statement can be asked. So you must know that it is basically, it contains legal, regulatory as well as the operational measures. Other things are money laundering, okay, to combat the money laundering, then to curb the terrorist financing and threats to the integrity of international financial system. So these are the basic issues basically, or the basic objectives that the Financial Action Task Force basically wants to deal with. So, and further with respect to that, you must learn about, this is your home task also, what is grey list and blacklist with respect to Financial Action Task Force. You must learn about this. So this was all that was there with respect to the Financial Action Task Force. Moving forward, the major issue with respect to mains perspective that we had at our hands was online fight to save children. The article you must have read about it, particularly mentioned about the various governmental as well as the international initiatives to combat the online abuse faced by the children. Further, it also talked about basically the recommendations of RS committee with respect to online child abuse, that what should be done to save the children from that kind of exploitation or that kind of abuse. So we will be dealing with these things, basically operations, that the governmental initiatives that are mentioned, they are important for your both prelims as well as mains exams. The specific name, like just mentioned here, what is Megh Chakkar or basically Operation Carbon or Aramb initiative, what are these kind of initiatives? The question may be asked with respect to one-liners, that is it with respect to save children, is it basically some internal security measure taken by the government? So that type of questions may be asked with respect to prelims exams as well as with respect to mains answer, that what are the international as well as the national level initiatives to combat the online abuse faced by the children. So we all will be dealing with this. So first of all, it mentioned about Operation Megh Chakkar, that what is it? It is against the online circulation and sharing of children's sexual abusive material. Okay, what is Megh Chakkar? It is the online circulation and sharing of child sexual abusive material. Then another similar exercise with respect to Operation Carbon was launched with basically many booked under the IT Act 2000, similar initiative basically with respect to combat the online abuse faced by the child. Another operation was launched. What was its name? Operation Carbon. And basically the individuals who were found what we say guilty under this operation, they were basically penalized under the IT Act 2000. Similar is with respect to Aramb initiative. It is a Mumbai based, again, non-governmental organization. You must remember this. It is a non-governmental organization launched by IWF, that is Internet Watch Foundation, and launched India's first online portal. Remember this, India's first online portal, okay, to report images and videos of child abuse. So you must remember what is this, is very important. Basically Aramb initiative, first of all, it is launched by a non-governmental organization. Then it is India's first online reporting portal where you can report basically the online abuse faced by the children. Similarly, Ministry of Home Affairs launched a national cyber crime portal, okay, in 2018 for filing online complaints pertaining to the child pornography. Okay, so what are the major initiatives that we have listed here that may be asked, or what are the national level initiatives launched by the government to save the children from child abuse, that you can talk about? That one, Meg Chakar is there. Similar initiative with similar objective was basically Operation Carbon. Then there is an Aramb initiative which is significant because it is the first online reporting portal, and then basically Ministry of Home Affairs in 2018 also launched a national cyber crime reporting portal with respect to this issue. Moving forward, just give me a second. Now talk about basically despite or sorry with respect to these initiatives, another major committee that has made recommendations that are important for us basically to deal with this kind of exploitation faced by children, that is the RS committee recommendations, okay, to prevent the online child abuse. Okay, even if UPSC does not ask you directly that what are the RS committee recommendations with respect to this issue, you can always mention this kind of things with respect to the conclusion of your mains answers. These things are always helpful. You will always get extra marks with when you will mention these kind of things. So further, these things can also be listed under the way forward, okay, or with respect to if UPSC asks you that basically what are the measures that should be taken to combat the online child abuse, you can always talk about that. See, government constituted an RS committee and it listed out several measures to basically deal with these issues, and these are its recommendations on the basis of which we can effectively deal with the issues. So what are its recommendations? First of all, it talked about the social media, that basically you must link it with that major users of online social media platforms are children. Basically the major concentration of individuals on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter, all like these platforms, is of children, and it is a basically major platform where basically children are exploited. They are made basically vulnerable to the abusive content, or they come in contact with the abusive people, okay, where they can be exploited. So here is the basically first thing that we need to deal with, where is the presence of children on the internet, and that is on the social media platforms. So what is the first basically thing that it talks about? It talks about age restrictions at the stage of account creation. For example, that below 18 years of age you cannot make account. Okay, you must have even seen with when you make a account on Facebook or Instagram, it talks about your age basically, and most of the children, because they want to show their presence on the platform, what they do is they lie about the age. This thing can be strictly regulated, okay, that age restriction is strictly adhered to or not. Then basically banning of users posting child exploitation content. okay, that thing should be banned. The individuals should be strictly punished with respect to this kind of things. Okay, you have already many acts like POSCO Act is there. It can be more made stringent, it can be made more effective, its implementation can be enhanced, so that any user basically or any individual who is in possession of this content, okay, has to face basically the wrath of law. Then providing information of illegal content to users in multiple languages, that should also be restricted. Okay, that should also be basically banned, or the individual doing such things should be held liable. So what are the major recommendations with respect to social media is, first of all, age limit should be strictly adhered to. Then there should be banning of child exploitative content, and basically any illegal content in basically multiple languages, that should also be banned. Then further it talks about another recommendations also. Just give me a second. What does it talks about doing the awareness and training part program. Basically it here wants to focus on the parents, because they are the primary agency of socialization. What they are the primary agency of socialization. The two things basically on the basis of which socialization is made effective, that is, one is parents and another is the schools part, and it basically wants to deal with parents here. Okay, you must have studied with respect to your ethics class also, that there is a topic mentioned, role of family and school institutions in the socialization. Okay, then basically what does committee states here is that campaign for parents on early signs of child abuse. Basically what is the problem, many a times if parents are illiterate, even if they are literate but they are not digitally literate, okay, they may not know basically what kind of content is penetrated upon the social media or the internet platforms. Okay, they should be made aware, that basic training should be given to them, that see, this is a child abusive content, or these are the basically symptoms of child abuse, so that things can be tackled at an early stage. Then a nationwide campaign on cyberbullying, the most important thing, because many individuals do not know that what is cyberbullying. Okay, what, first of all, what is it? Okay, what are its then symptoms? Okay, what are its basic, what we say, what is its basic content, so that individuals are able to identify that, see, that yes, their children is going through the process of child cyber bullying. Many a times basically parents especially, they do not know basically what kind of basically bullying child is facing. The most, or what we say, or the recent or the frequent that we come across is the physical bullying that we witness across in the basically schools is there or colleges is there, but there is very little awareness with respect to the content, what is the basic aspect of cyberbullying. Then basically it also talks about creating an institutional mechanism. Okay, the committee recommended that an upgraded National Commission on Protection of Child Rights should be designated to deal with the issues of child pornography. National Commission on Protection of Child Rights, a national institutional authority to effectively deal with this issue. Moving forward, basically it also talks about the international cooperation that should be done with other countries, okay, for sharing the information. We all know that basically due to technological revolution, the platforms are linked. What is happening in in one country has significant impact in the another country. Okay, the content that is basically indigenous to one country may well be circulated in the other parts of the world as well, as because of the interlinking enhanced by the technological revolution. So the what can happen with international cooperation is, we can basically, countries can go for sharing of information. Okay, they will be better able to identify the criminals, they will be better able to identify that who has done the hacking, for example, who is, what we say, circulating the child pornography content, especially in the dark web investigations. You must have studied with respect to your security classes what is dark web. Okay, that is where basically major information or basically illegal content is circulated. Okay, and next it also talks about the research part, that committee recommended that a national crimes record bureau, okay, must be mandatorily record and report all cases of child pornography. So major two things basically that we need to learn here is that despite all the what we say other recommendations, the two major thing it talks about is, one is the institutional mechanism, talk of the national child protection body, and another one is a basically research body, that is with respect to National Crime Records Bureau, which should also deal with the child pornographic content. Okay, the two major recommendations that maybe well serve you in the way forward measures or the conclusion part of the answers. Okay, the article also talks about the global practices that have been basically the major effective regulations that are put to use by the international countries, okay, that can also be well used by the country like India. For example, in USA there is a process or phenomena called cyber tip line. It is a basically public and electronic service providers to report instances of suspected child abuse exploitation. Okay, cyber tip line is there where you can report, okay, instances of child abuse exploitation, or even if you are susceptible of it. Then basically in UK there is a mission of the International Watch Foundation, a non-governmental body which also started ARAMB initiative here, okay, to ensure a safe online environment for users with a particular focus on child sexual abuse material. Okay, CSM, that is again child sexual abuse material. Okay, what does it talk about? UK basically there is a mission of Internet Watch Foundation to ensure a safe online environment so that there is no child pornography, there is no cyberbullying, there is no hacking of the accounts. Okay, that type of things do not happen. Okay, the individuals can basically use internet or social media platforms in a basically proper free manner. Okay, that is a basically two things that are adopted by US and UK that can also be well adopted by country like India. Just give me a second. Next, basically there is also another basically global network that is also called as INHOPE, INHOPE. That is a global network of 50 hotlines, okay, which provides the public with a way to anonymously report what is that, child sexual abuse material. Child sexual, again you all abuse material. Okay, there is also another platform called as INHOPE, INHOPE, that is global network of 50 hotlines to provide the public. You can anonymously report if you do not want that your identity should be leaked, okay, this due to fear or some another issue. Basically you can anonymously report the cases of child sexual abuse. So the question may be well framed with respect to what are the government initiatives as well as international mechanisms to deal with child sexual abuse. Okay, and further it can also be asked that, see, what are the measures that should be needed to more effectively deal with this kind of issue. So obviously you have already, you know what is child sexual abuse, you know basically what are the mechanisms that are there in place, international as well as basically national. Here you can talk about ARAMB, basically Meg Chakkar, Carbon, National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal is there. Then here you can talk about, for example, INHOPE is there, US, UK. Okay, what kind of initiatives that have been taken, and at last basically the you can here in measures you can enlist the what we say recommendations of the RS committee. So this was there with respect to what we say your issue of child sexual abuse. Now we will also be dealing with the one topic with respect to ethics also. You must have seen the news with respect to a 12-year-old girl who was raped and left to die, okay, in the outskirts of a particular city. When basically the girl was found by people, basically instead of helping her or calling for ambulance, the people gathered around, basically they started laughing, okay, and basically many of the people also start filming the basically condition of the girl child while she was crying for help. It created a huge basically hue and cry with respect to where as a society we are headed to. This type of thing can also be asked with respect to the case study in your mains examinations of ethics, that basically what are the ethical issues that are involved here, okay, and basically how you can basically, or what should be the measures to deal with this kind of issues. So what is the case study here? 12-year-old girl, basically she was raped and left to die. When people found, basically instead of helping her out, people started making videos and were seen laughing. It was reported that nobody bothered to call an ambulance, okay. So this is a basic case study, okay. So what are the ethical issues involved here? You can see basically from the content itself of the case study, 2 to 3 things are very much visible. What is one aspect of video making that is there, then another aspect of laughing, and another aspect of not calling an ambulance. 3 things are already visible to you that you can basically make a issues out of. So what are the ethical issues involved? First of all, you should always write about that how rape is a gruesome act and basically it threatens the women empowerment. It threatens women empowerment, her right to bodily integrity, her basic right to life with dignity under Article 21 of the Constitution, okay. And basically what are the ethical issues involved here? First of all, the major issue is with respect to the moral compass of the society, that basically you will you talk about the issue of death of humanity. People have become so much self-oriented, so much apathy is there in society because of rising individualism, that people basically when find in somebody in such a gruesome situation or in such a horrific situation, basically instead of helping, basically people started making fun of them. So this is also this what thing this can be termed as, it can be called as death of humanity in society, or lack of basically basic morality for others, okay, where you can feel about others, basically the empathy, basic empathy, that what the pain the others are going through. When you will be see, we study empathy, basically it is to put yourself in the other's shoes so that you can feel basically what the other one is going through, okay. When you will not have empathy in the society or in the individual, you will never be able to feel basically what kind of pain the another one is going through. And specific with respect to this kind of situations, when there is no empathy, how you can help the individual. So that is the issue with respect to moral compass of the society, that is death of humanity as well as the lack of basic morality. Then is the role of good Samaritan. What is good Samaritan? It is basically in layman terms you can talk about that it is a good citizen who helps other or is kind enough to help the strangers even if you do not know anything about other one. Obviously everybody likes to help his or her own relatives, his or her own family. If any individual find his or her own family in kind of situation, okay, or in an uneventful situation, everybody basically rushes for help. But a good Samaritan is an individual who helps the others, even those who are not known to him, that out of empathy, out of compassion, out of kindness, that is called as a good citizen. And as a citizen of this country, you owe this to the citizen, or even if you basically disregard the national boundaries, okay, as a human being, basically you owe it to your other fellows, basically, that see, basically at last we are all humans, and if we see anybody in pain, we should help the others. So role of a good Samaritan, basically, is there no empathy left in society? Okay. What is compassion? Compassion is empathy plus basically the initiative to help the others who are in the kind of uneventful situation, for others who are in difficult situation. So what this situation tells us about, that there was a lack of good Samaritan individuals in kind of situation. In that situation, if there have been good Samaritans, basically the individuals would have called the ambulance, they would have basically prohibited others to film the basically those who are filming the uneventful situation of the victim, okay. That is the basic we can call about the role of a good Samaritan, helping the other individuals as well as motivating others to help the individuals, basically. So these 2 things were basic, what we can say, these 2 things were lacking, the moral, basic morality, okay, as well as the role of a good Samaritan. Other issues you can also talk about here is, that is privacy and autonomy. As I told you about that, the 1 to 2 things are already visible in your case study, that one of them was the filming of the basically uneventful situation of the individual. People making videos, okay, it violates the basic freedom, okay, dignity and identity of a victim. Basically it violates article 19 as well as 21 of the individual right to bodily integrity, right to freedom of speech and expression. And Supreme Court has specifically stated that basically the identity of the victim should not be leaked. It is also against the Supreme Court guidelines with respect to such conditions. So the individuals who were making, they were not basically making a fun of other individuals, but they were also violating the fundamental rights of the victim. Next one, basically self orientation versus collective orientation. Okay, the desire to basically, what is self orientation? First of all, self orientation is being self involved with yourself. Collective orientation is basically when you think about the society, collectivity. Okay, the what happens basically happened in this situation is many of the other individuals basically did not help because they wanted to stay out of the legal hassles. Police cannot be sorry, what we say, greater than saving the life of others. The desire to stay out of legal hassles, to desire the basically stay out of basically police harassment that happens in the society when anybody is an eyewitness to this kind of situation. Basically people do not want to go through that kind of process. Okay, that, but what we can say is that desire to stay out of these kind of things cannot be greater than saving the life of the victim. Okay, basically this is a dilemma that is facing the society, and we can say here basically it is the police department as well as the government who is also to blame in this kind of situations, because instead of incentivizing the individual who has reported such a crime, who has saved the life of a victim, basically individuals are harassed by the police. Okay, there is so much legal complexity with respect to the rules made by the government that individuals do not want to indulge even in the act of saving the other individuals. Okay, that is a major issue. Then fundamental duties as a citizen of a country, we have some duties towards the society. Rights and duties go hand in hand. 2 to 3 months back basically there was again a debate with respect to rights and duties as a citizen of the society. Okay, if you want to enjoy the fundamental rights as a citizen of the country, then you should also be very well aware that you should not also violate the fundamental rights of other individuals. There are some basically, even though non-judicial in nature, there are some basic fundamental duties that we have to adhere to. Okay, and basically it is a violation of that duties as well as the rights of the other individuals. So that is a major issue with respect to this thing. You can also add on another issues, for example in self orientation, that today people think time is money. Okay, that if we will be basically indulging in the act of saving another individual, we will be losing our time. Okay, we will be basically getting late from our work. Okay, we will be basically losing some of money, because today there is a financial aspect of time as well. Okay, this kind of things basically has reduced the moral compass of the society. Too much individualism is basically what the thing that we should worry about. Okay, so what are the basic ethical issues that we have talked about? First of all is with respect to, we will list here the already talked one, privacy and autonomy of the individuals. Okay, the filming of the act violates the basically article 19 and 21 as well as it is against the Supreme Court guidelines. Self orientation versus collective orientation, the desire to stay out of legal hassles or police proceedings cannot be greater than saving the life of the other individual. Then fundamental rights of the citizen, okay, should not be violated, as well as a citizen of this country you have some fundamental duties that you should basically adhere to. Okay, as a citizen of this country. Next one, there is a basically death of humanity or morality in the society. That is a major issue with respect to today's time. So these are all the ethical issues that we have been listing. Now basically how to improve the act of individuals in this kind of situations. See, in measures you will first of all always talk about that this kind of things need attitudinal changes in society. Attitudinal changes, or you can also talk about behavioral change behavioral change in society. Okay, these type of things cannot be what we say improved only by making legal rules and regulations or laws. Okay, if we are able to inculcate empathy, compassion, if we are able to internalize the basic value system that is of our society, then only the things can improve. And what we can do with respect to this is, what is first of all, socialization. I have already told you there are some primary and secondary agencies of socialization. For example, family, schools, teachers. Okay, they should go for basically value inculcation at the home also, in the schools also, and as well as by the teachers, that this is what is gender sensitization. Okay, what is morality, how you have to act in different kind of situations, what is moral, what is immoral, what is ethical, what is unethical. Okay, then inclusion of ethics in school syllabus. Okay, so that individuals are able to differentiate basically what is attitude. Okay, if you want to go for attitudinal changes in society, first of all individuals should know that what is attitude. Okay, what is morality, what is a value system, what are principles, what are morals. Then gender sensitization of family, okay, society, police, every individual basically, or we can say that they should be gender sensitized with respect to how to behave with respect to dealing with such kind of situations where the dignity of the woman is violated. Then incentivization of helpers. As I have already told you that there are some individuals who want to help, but because of legal hassles and the police harassment, they basically remain excluded from these kind of activities. So instead basically government should make the laws and rules simple enough, okay, so that individuals do not feel that I am being hassled or I am being harassed. Okay, in fact I am reporting the case, I should be incentivized. Then strict application of laws against violating dignity. Okay, then basically every individual basically who is violating the dignity of a crime, we have already many laws in place, they should be made, the loophole should be curbed out in those acts. Then what we can do is effective implementation. And then any individual who is leaking the identity of a victim, he or she should also be punished, because it is against the Supreme Court guidelines and it is against the right to life with dignity. The individual can be stereotyped, there can be social stigma with respect to that individual. So these are all the measures. Again I will repeat in nutshell: socialization, inclusion of ethics, gender sensitization, incentivization of helpers, and strict what we say application of laws against the identity of leaking the identity of victim, as well as violating the dignity of the woman. So these were all the topics that basically came last week with respect to society, security and ethics. Okay, all the best, we will meet next week. Thank you.